go ahead and call a public hearing for June 16th to order, please. June 16th. Obviously, the wrong date. Bear with me 1 second. July 21st. I'll still the wrong agenda, right?
Jason Hood.
Here.
Johnny Blunt.
Here.
Lamar Marshall.
Here.
Mike Williams.
Here.
Janice Carter Beard.
Bear with me 1 second while I get the right agenda. There. Item number 1, an ordinance relative to alcohol beverages and Sunday alcohol sales. Councilman Marshall.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you, and for the council. We have on the agenda tonight the public hearing regarding the Sunday sale of alcohol. And I know we're going to have a lot of people to speak on it for and against, but I just want to make one comment before you allow the citizens to come up and talk. This is like any other thing that ordinance that we have. It's an ordinance that's been on the books for a while. It was brought to my attention that some of the bar owners had an interest in seeing if the ordinance could be reconsidered. It's based on logic, and we have to leave the doors open.
Yeah, leave
the public hearing. So, just based on the logic of the ordinance, I took a look at that, and I agree that it was one of those ordinances that we had to really we can reconsider. And in 2013, we took up the same particular part of the ordinance, and we opened up the sale of alcohol on Sundays to all of our grocery stores. And then just recently, I think Ponchatoula just passed a law where they allow Sunday sales in their city. And so I thought it only made sense. And it wasn't like this ordinance allows us for the first time to have alcohol sales on Sunday in bars. We currently have alcohol sales on Sundays in bars. They just happen to be bars that are attached to restaurants. So the standalone bars are the only bars that are left out of are carved out. And I don't really see the difference between a standalone bar I see the difference between a standalone bar and a restaurant bar, but I think that making a distinction and saying that a standalone bar should not be able to sell alcohol on Sunday when a restaurant bar can sell alcohol on Sunday, and a constituent could go to the bar, not eat anything at all, order drinks, and leave would be no different than a standalone bar. So I thought it made logical sense to me, and so I was willing to take on the responsibility of introducing it to the council, and so here's where we are. So I hope that we have a good discussion about it tonight, and whatever happens, happens. But I think it only makes sense to give all of our citizens choice, a fair choice, make it fair for all of our establishments, and giving the citizens a choice that they want to have and where they choose to have a drink on a Sunday if that's what they want to do.
All right, we'll start the public discussion. I would ask that, because I think there are a lot of people here that would like to speak. I am going to limit the time to 3 minutes. I want to be respectful and at 3 minutes and ask you to wrap up your comments. So I've had a request from Cecilia Genoble to go first, so I'm going to honor that request. It's the least I can do. And please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Cecilia Genoble, 110 Granby Drive, Hammond, 70401. Mr. President, members of the council, Mr. Mayor, Dr. Landrum, and everyone else. In a free society, we are allowed to make choices. We may shop in any store or choose to avoid some. Our decision can be based on prices, selection, service, any number of business-related reasons. We can also choose to do business with stores that agree with our political, social, or religious philosophy and stay away from those that disagree. A free market allows businesses to compete for our dollars. We should carefully consider the need for any law that restricts a free market. Over the last roughly 30 years, we have come to reconsider Sunday closing laws. Opening businesses on Sunday took some adjusting, but seems to have gone without negative effects. And we see businesses making choices regarding Sunday opening. Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A are the most well-known examples of national chain stores choosing to remain closed on Sunday. Locally, many businesses, including restaurants, close or restrict their hours on Sundays. My point is that this is about choice. We are perfectly capable of making these kinds of choices. Government should not make the choice for us or for the market. Bars should be allowed to make the choice to open or not, and adults should be allowed to make the choice to patronize those establishments or not. There will be no appreciable extra burden on public resources since restaurants are already serving alcohol on Sundays. I understand and respect God's commandment to keep holy the Sabbath and the deeply held religious belief by many that Sunday should be a day of rest and prayer, not commerce. I also know that God gave us free will, and we live in a country founded upon faith in God and faith in the people. Have faith in us and the choices we make. After all, we chose you to be our representatives on this council. You have to believe that we can make good choices. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next. Are the people here opposed that would like to speak? Then we'll go with those who are in favor. Come on up.
It hoped that I didn't have to speak. My name is Dr. Louise Bostick, 112 Elm Drive, Hammond. Yeah, we have choices. We have choices to break into homes and rob and not do so. Lots of choices. And unfortunately, those choices are not made with the same logic as others. And to say that this is a reasonable and logical path to follow, because Ponchatoula did it, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I think Hammond stands out as a family community. I think we have something going for us here in that we do have some restrictions. And to say that these bars are just going to flat out go broke because they can't serve liquor on Sundays, they can only do it 6 days a week, is absurd. And that's it. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak against? All right, I know we have a few people here that would like to speak in favor of. I'll start with Ms. Terry Lynn.
Terry Lynn Smith, 603 South Holly, 70403. I'm here representing the Downtown Development District. I have a letter to read to you that was carefully thought out during a meeting. We met for a special public meeting in the council chambers on Tuesday, July 14th at 5:30 p.m. to discuss the proposed changes to the ordinance relative to alcoholic beverages and Sunday alcohol sales. It is the position of the serving Board of Directors for the Downtown Development District to support changes in city ordinances that may be presented to and passed by the Hammond City Council, which provide opportunities for increased commerce and growth among businesses located in the district. The support will not be limited to or exclusive of business types. The board believes that the enactment of the proposed changes to the ordinance relative to alcoholic beverages and Sunday alcohol sales is in line with our position. This letter is signed by me for the Board of Directors, Frank DiVittorio, Eric Dosh, Paul Jones, Chairman, Cynthia Shelton, Sharon Smith, Pierre Terrio, Vice Chairman, and several of the board members are present. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Terry Lynn. All right. Next, anybody else? Todd?
Todd DeLon, 120 East Thomas Street, Hammond, Louisiana. My name is Todd DeLon. I'm the owner of the Red, White, and Brew, corner of East Thomas and East Thomas and Cypress Street. And I'm here tonight to obviously encourage everyone to vote for this endeavor. And the reason I'm doing that is because several reasons. Number one, the Red, White, and Brew has been in the community for about 19 years now, about 3 years under my leadership. We have been a very responsible vendor of alcoholic products. We've also prided ourselves in procuring some of the most sought-after beverages in the marketplace. And one of the things I will take a second to brag on, if you don't mind, is that we actually procured 3 bottles of a wine that only 30 bottles were allocated to the entire state of Louisiana. That includes all restaurants and bars in the state of Louisiana. We received 3 of the 30. So we've worked very hard not only to be responsible citizens, we've also worked very hard to ensure that we carry quality products for our customers. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is there are 3 types of licenses in the alcohol world and retail. And one of those is an AR, which is a restaurant license. One of those is an AG, which is a bar license. And the other 2s are a type A off-premise license, which covers 2 different entities, which is, convenience stores, big box retailers, and of course, grocery stores. The only one out of those 3 that has a restriction in this city is bars, obviously. And if for any other reason tonight, then fairness, that you would not vote for this ordinance, I'm encouraging you to think differently. And the reason I'm saying that is we're apparently holding on to some old ordinance that we think somehow protects society from the bad guy, which is apparently the bars. And we're not the bad guy. We're the good guy. We're actually the ones who police the traffic of consumption more than any other industry does. We don't even allow children inside of our buildings. In fact, no one under the age of 18 is permitted to enter any of the local bars. The other thing that I'd like to add is that we're merely business people trying to have a level playing field. If you take the week and dissect it mathematically, let me know when I'm at 3 minutes, because I can talk. If you take the week and dissect it mathematically, Sunday's 15% of our potential revenue. And because of the fact that it's on a Sunday, it's actually the weekend, which is one of our busiest times, that number would actually expand exponentially. So we're denied an opportunity to earn 15% of our potential revenue and our potential income simply because we hold a license called AG. And I'm not really sure that that makes a lot of sense to me as a business person, and I'm not really sure that it makes a lot of sense to the people who like to frequent the Red, White, and Brew. And we've got a show of support here tonight to prove that for you. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands we're not looking for special treatment, we're looking for equal treatment. And I think it's the responsibility of this panel to treat everyone equally, and I think it's the responsibility of laws to be balanced and fair to all concerned. Thank you.
Boy, that was trouble. Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, cut it out, yeah.
I'm gonna throw it on the ground in a second here. Shut off here. Okay. We're just gonna go by the honor system from now on.
It took 3 minutes to cut it out.
Next. You have less time now, thanks to my phone. Is there anyone else I want to speak in favor of?
Good evening. Justin Crossy, 207 Wildwood Drive, 70401. I'd just like to say I'm in support of lifting the ban on alcohol sales, much for the same reason I was opposed to the smoking ban. As a business owner, they should have a field in which they can operate within the law, and selling alcohol on Sunday at a bar versus a restaurant, in my opinion, has no difference. I am curious, however, there was a number of rumors floating around Hammond, and Mr. Marshall, if I may address you directly, is that permitted?
Yes.
I have heard through a number of sources that the introduction of this ordinance is political payback for support for the smoking ordinance, and I would just like to know if in fact that is true.
Well, I mean, I would never do what we call political payback. I can
Quid
tell
pro
you this,
quo.
though. I can tell you this, though. During the discussion, when we talked about the no smoking ordinance, we talked about during our group setting that we had, we talked about the lifting the Sunday sales. And it was suggested during that time that we separate those two discussions And so I made the commitment at that point during the time we were discussing the no smoking ordinance, because we had bar owners on our panel to talk about the no smoking ordinance. And I did make the commitment that I would be more than willing to address that or introduce the ordinance to the council. But it wasn't a matter of payback, but it was a discussion during the time that we were discussing the no smoking ordinance. So if that answers your question.
Yes, sir, it
That's
does.
how I went down.
Again, I would urge a vote to lift the ban on Sunday sales. Thank you.
Anyone else speak either in favor or against? If not, we'll move on. I'm sorry. Ma'am, come on up.
Okay.
Please state your name and address.
My
for the
name is
record.
Regina Miller, and I live at 707 Natchez in Hammond, Louisiana. And I've been a resident for 59 years, and I'm against it. I feel like if all can't do it, none should do it. And that's just my personal opinion on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina?
I think, can we address that, Mr. President?
Sure.
What's your name again, ma'am?
Regina Miller.
I think that what Regina's talking about was, there was some discussion, Regina, I'm just going to be transparent because I like to be straight up and transparent. There was some discussion that I initiated that we were looking at a compromise with some of the council members that if there was an issue with the bars closer to the residential areas being open, that could we at least carve out the downtown bars in the DDD, because I knew that the DDD, which is the Downtown Development District, was in support of the bars opening in downtown. But that was pretty much pretty much stopped because of what you just said. A couple of council members said that if we were going to do it, it should be for everybody or for none. So then that will stop. So that was already off the table. Just to let you know that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Tina?
I think Tina Latino was.
Can I hear Mr. Janice since she wasn't here for it?
Sure.
Okay, Tina Latino, Benny's Place, 204 West Thomas Street. I'm Tina Latino, daughter of Benny Latino Jr. He's been the owner of Benny's Place in downtown Hammond for 45 years. And during that 45 years, the bar has never been cited for alcohol sales to a minor. I'd like to make note of that. We take it very serious, as I know each of you do, and we pride ourselves on that. 4 years ago, when my father had a stroke and I decided to take over the bar, I made the choice to make the bar 28, you had to be 21 and older to get in. So we never even have to deal with that. We maintain a great relationship with Hammond PD. And I understand the concern regarding religious beliefs. I also take my religious beliefs very serious. I just this past year became confirmed in the Catholic Church. I try to get up at 7:30 each morning and attend Mass, and then I go on with my day. A lot of that time, that means that we head downtown and we go to the bar and we do a lot of maintenance and handling of our business. With that being said, we see a drastic change in the restaurant bars and family businesses. The concern, I hear a lot of religious beliefs, but at the same time, on Sundays, whenever people get out of church and they go to eat at these restaurants, you see a lot of bar business. And it's, like I said, it's increased. And that means that a lot of sports are involved. And with that being said, I manage a bar. When there are Saints games or sports on, that entails a lot of cursing and yelling and things that I now recognize and see that are happening in these restaurant bars. And I wonder how it's okay for that to happen, and it's not okay for us to keep people within the bars 21 and older. I also am trying to understand how Councilman Johnny Blunt, Jason Hood, Mike Williams, and Lamar Marshall voted on September 3rd, 2013, to allow liquor and wine sales in grocery stores and convenience stores despite personal and religious beliefs there. Now, I take that very personal because you're denying me business, yet large corporate companies can make business, can sell alcohol and wine on Sundays. I know that you all are sick of hearing about Ponchatoula. I also find it extremely hard to believe that Hammond, which is has a major university, state university, cannot allow their bars to be open on Sunday, yet the Antique City allows this. My understanding is that Chief Larison has stated that there has not been any rise in crime since the bars have been open on Sunday in Ponchatoula. And I ask that if you cannot agree on whether or not this is unfair or intentional targeting of certain business owners, that you should continue or not, that you should allow the citizens that elected each of you on this council to decide and let it be put on a ballot for public vote.
I'd like to talk on that. You just mentioned the university here, and we all know about the fact that we've had alcohol deaths at LSU.
I understand that.
Over drinking, right? Now, we also talking about the religious aspect.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about the fact, what's wrong with the fact that, okay, I voted for this cigarette ban.
Okay.
Right? Which means I voted against myself because I'm a smoker.
Okay.
All right, now, which relegates the fact that we have set the fact that a person that smokes cigarettes is now relegated to smoke in their homes and nowhere else.
I understand.
We've taken all rights and privileges from a smoker, but yet you want me to give you extra privileges for people who drink. You got 6 days a week.
I understand that.
6 days a week to drink, and the fact that, okay, Ponchatoula hasn't really live crime yet. How long has Ponchatoula initiated the fact that they open their bars on Sunday?
My response to that is that the people that are going to drink on Sundays or drink every day, they're going to do it anyway. I'm downtown. I see it happening.
Yeah.
And my thing is, they're going to. I just don't understand the reasoning behind not allowing it in a bar that's 21 and older as opposed to patios or other family-run businesses that are in downtown Hammond.
Well, I'm gonna give you an instance. For instance, if I go to a bar and you open, let's say you open from 6 to 12.
Okay.
I'm sitting there from 6 to 12. If I go to a restaurant, I'm there for what, an hour, hour and a half?
No, you can be in the bar the whole time. Yeah.
Let's,
Okay.
Yeah, I would love for you to go to one of those on a Sunday to those bars and see how long people are there drinking. It's the same thing.
And then you
Let's-
also mentioned the fact that I can go to the grocery store and buy my liquor. If I go to the grocery store and buy my liquor, I'm going to my house, which means more than likely, I'm not gonna get a DUI. Is that correct?
I do understand that, but that's a separate issue.
wait, we're not gonna do this.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's a separate issue. I mean, people are gonna be downtown drinking anyway. You're denying it to happen in my business.
Mr. President, I think that just the point that you made, Tina, and I don't want to go long on it, but, as an example, you have a restaurant bar.
No, I just have a bar.
No,
Okay.
you have a restaurant bar
Okay.
that is next to your business.
Right.
And that restaurant bar can open on Sunday and sell alcohol.
Longer hours,
And
might
you
I
can
add.
be there the entire day, and you're not required to buy any food.
Exactly.
There's no requirement, so really, for all intent and purposes, there really is no difference. The other part is, and I think you made a very good point, that in the restaurant bar, there are people under 18 in that same space.
Exactly.
Whereas in the standalone bar, that is for adults only.
Exactly.
And I think that makes it even better if our goal is to keep the younger people away from alcohol consumption, then going to a standalone bar would make even more sense if that was the case.
Thank you.
Yes, but it's also the case that a person under 21 years old in a restaurant bar still can't get liquor. Am I right?
Yeah.
Well, I would ask the crowd, please, if you want to make a comment, you got to come up to the podium.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we're gonna end this.
Yes, we will.
And we all do have responsible vendor cards, and we do our best to try to keep people from drinking and driving. I mean, and that doesn't mean people at home aren't going to do it. I mean, we can't prevent it at every cost, but, it's just, I just wanted to add that to it.
Okay, thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
I'll allow one or two more, and then we're going to move on. Daniel.
My name's Daniel Lambert, Kate Street Pub, 116 North Kate Street. I wanted to come up and first just thank the council for at least talking about it. It's been a long time that I've personally been asking people to talk about it, and at least you're here, opened up a public forum, and quite honestly, there's a lot more support here than I thought there would be for it, and I hope that maybe shows you guys something. One point, I mean, there's been a lot of really good points made. I don't want to belabor any of them. But one thing about the grocery stores that you ought to realize is that they're selling hundreds, if not thousands, of cases of beer on a Sunday. You got 6 or 7 bars trying to sell a few dozen. If you buy a case of beer at Walmart, it costs you $22. You try and buy a case of beer at my place, about $72.
I won't tell you secrets.
So it's more accessible and it's cheaper now. And it just makes more sense, I believe, to put the bar business in the bars and not in the restaurants. And if there's any questions I can answer for anyone, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, thank you very much for at least considering it.
All right, how about one more? All right, we'll move on. Item number 2, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2000-2692CS regarding the City of Hammond's compensation system and the classification and pay plan. Lacey Landry.
As promised, we have been revising this ordinance. It was first established in 2000 to talk about the city's pay plan for all of our employees. The critical parts, you'll see lots of red line in the ordinance, but the critical parts are that we are allowing a 2% raise for years 0 to 23. That puts us in compliance, and it also just echoes some other conversations that we've had about those years. For years 24 through 30, it's a 1% raise. We have also outlined a promotion strategy that corresponds to the MAG implementation. So this gets us going forward in a very nice, efficient way. And many thanks to the Fire and Police Associations who have also helped us look this over, make sure that we're all on the same page going forward.
I know it's been a long road. Thank you
It's been
for
very
your
long.
efforts, and I'm sure that the employees appreciate those efforts as well. Do we have any council comments or questions for Lacey? Do we have any?
Delaware Malaban Hammond Firefighter Association. Lacey's correct. This ordinance needed to be updated. It was 15 years old. I know they took on a huge part. Mike just said it about trying to implement this new pay plan and change this and update this ordinance at the same time. And I know they really worked their tails off on it. And I want to tell them today in front of y'all, thank y'all for letting us be a part of that process. I have looked at the final draft of it today, and it follows all state laws that shows how the fireman side of it has to be compensated on promotions or step raises or whatever. So with that being said, I stand in support of this ordinance.
Thank you.
Derwin, thank you for the time you put in. Thanks. We appreciate the help.
Any other public comment? All right, item number 4, an ordinance to amend City of Hammond budget for fiscal year 2015-16 to transfer $181,000 from Children's Museum Fund 2171 to General Capital. Oh, man, I am off my game tonight. An ordinance to declare it surplus and authorize the sale of items listed below to sell on govdeals.com. Mr. Peters.
Good evening.
I tried to get you out of it.
Appreciate that, sir. This is an ordinance that we're bringing to the council for items that are being declared surplus, and we need the authorization in the same step to sell these items on GovDeal.
Any questions from the council? Comments? Any public comments or questions? All right. Now, item number 4. An ordinance to amend the City of Hammond budget for fiscal year 2015-16 16 to transfer $181,000 from the Children's Museum Fund 2171 to General Capital Expenditures Fund 100, and to transfer $181,000 sales tax capital expenditures Fund 203 to General Fund 100 to allocate $125,000 for the Children's Museum Fund, $35,320 for the City of Hammond employee salaries, and $15,500 for Highway 51 feasibility study, and $55,180 to the fund balance. Lacey.
We are proposing this budget amendment tonight for housekeeping purposes. The table is linked that kind of outlines the details, so I'll just walk you through some of those moves. First, according to the video bingo ordinance change that we did in June, we are decommissioning Fund 217, which is why you see zeros straight down that column. We are moving those video bingo dollars to the general operating capital expenditures line, where the other video bingo dollars appear each year in the budget. So that line increases from $550,000 to $731,000. Then we reduce the sales tax fund by $181,000 to offset that transfer. Of those funds, we're requesting to allocate $35,320 to multiple departments as represented in the table to be able to fund the 2% employee anniversary raises through year 23. We had originally budgeted 2% raises through year 20, and so we're requesting that additional money to go through year 23. We're also requesting $15,500 for consultant services for a Highway 51 feasibility study to determine how to widen Highway 51 from Hammond to Ponchatoula. The entire cost of that study is actually $756,000. Federal funds are paying 80%. We're getting a steal of a deal. The Louisiana DOTD is covering 15%, and we are sharing a 5% match with parish government and the city of Ponchatoula. So Hammond's portion is $15,500 for this really important, significant project for that corridor. The administration then recommends allocating $125,000 to the Children's Museum, and we have a cooperative endeavor agreement listed later in the agenda where we'll specify the details of our partnership with the Louisiana Children's Discovery Center. We believe this allocation aligns with those for other nonprofit partners, and remember that we can't expend our budgeted funds without signed cooperative endeavor agreements. So we'll be requesting your approval of several of these agreements tonight and at the next council meeting. Just to refresh your memory, for Crime Stoppers, we have budgeted $9,383. For CASA, we have budgeted $10,000. For the Tangipahoa African American Heritage Museum, we have budgeted $25,000. For the Council on Aging, to provide support to seniors and to run the Hammond City bus system, we have budgeted $45,000. For the Hammond Youth Education Alliance, which runs the city's after-school program, we have budgeted $50,000. And for the Discovery Center, we're requesting to budget $125,000. The remainder of those funds then go to the fund balance, so you'll see the very ending fund balance in the table increase slightly, which is a good thing because it means overall, even with all this budget amendment, we're actually saving some money.
Any questions for Lacey from the council? Any public comment? Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Ms. Mayor and Council. My name is Elizabeth Fritz. I'm a pediatrician, and my office address is 42440 Pelican Professional Park. I know that you're all aware of our original budget with our fiscal year beginning in January of $180,000. And at this time, no more than $125,000 can be allocated to the Children's Discovery Center. However, we have your word, as I understand it, through my fellow board members, that should the Discovery Center, despite our best efforts at grants, sponsorships, and the fundraising efforts, of which we have two planned for the remainder of 2015, that you will support the Discovery Center in its current efforts and continue to function, for us to continue to function at the current level. And I ask that this be reflected in both the minutes and in the cooperative endeavor agreement. Thank you very much.
I want to add that, and I did make that statement to several board members. But we need to also be prudent and watch our sales tax dollars, because we don't know what the road construction is going to do to our Christmas shopping season. So, well, I can sit here and tell you that I would absolutely be open despite your best efforts, and I'm going to have to see the best efforts before I would support it. If the money's not there, then that's going to be an issue. So I've supported LCDC in my business personally, and on this council, and I'll continue to do that. But we need to see those best efforts.
And also, if you would, let me interject. We're here to be the steward of the money for the city of Hammond. We're here to give you technical assistance so that you can be profitable and bring in money for yourselves. But there is accountability on your end. And the accountability isn't just the two fundraisers you're talking about. You hired a fundraiser to go out and to raise money. Now, this is a sales position. I understand sales isn't easy. My father was in sales. I'm a marketing major. You're going to get turned down. But you do need to go out there and do it.
Actually, at this time,
The museum has been directed in the path of Shell Oil, which from what I understood hasn't been approached. Valero Oil, which wasn't approached last time I talked to him, but since then I believe has been. But if you look online, Valero Oil will only give you $25,000. So the big money you may have been looking for is not there. But $25,000 is still a lot of money. We directed you or encouraged you to apply for a video bingo slot like all the other nonprofits do, which brings in $30,000 to $40,000. One slot was just opened on Morrison Road. The slot's been taken. Y'all didn't apply for that. So to some extent, you do have a responsibility to help yourselves. And at what point, and I'm a supporter just like Mike. My business has supported it. I personally supported it. But at what, you have been given over $2 million in 8 years. $2 million plus. At what time do we be able to step back and you're self-sufficient? Because what happens here is you earmark something like the state has done and the Fed's done. Look what's happened to the state. They need money. So where do they go? Higher education and health because things were earmarked. You can't do that. We have to provide funding for our own city. We have to pay our bills. We have employees that we've done a survey for the last 4 years and passed and paid $24,000 a year. We're finally implementing because our employees are the ones who provide and run the city truly. So we're giving them a fair and equitable rate of pay across the board compared to other municipalities our size. We have got to take care of the city before we give money out. Now, I'm only a steward of the money. I don't want to hoard the money. I don't want to keep the money. If we have excess money, we'll gladly give it out. But there are a lot of other nonprofits that are, to be honest with you, have called me and said they're upset. Look at the difference in what Lacey Landrum has said is given out in the community. So that being said, I'm fully supportive of the Children's Museum. We're trying to get back the Hammond High right behind First Guaranty Bank. We're looking and have always wanted to get another facility, have spoke with the library. They're going to be bringing and building a new library, a big library to Hammond. And they even brought the fact up, what do you think about the library being paired with the Children's Museum? And I said, and also the African American Museum. So we're not stopping. We want to help you. But to say that, to feel like you're entitled to $200,000+, or God forbid, over $2 million in 8 years, where's it going?
well, the startup, number one, of a children's discovery center or children's museum is significant, obviously. And as I understand it, there's no children's museum in the country that's completely self-sufficient. Now, the board members have taken considerable responsibilities on, in fact, taken over the fundraising efforts. There is a consultant involved. However, she is not the only person working these fundraisers. There are volunteers as well as board members themselves who are involved in this.
This has just started, correct?
No, sir. Last year, myself and my daughter worked the whole Piper's Closet.
So it just started in last year. So
the Piper's, these are newer events. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And
it's
we
through
don't
second year.
intend to take funding totally away from any nonprofit. But what I think is fair is, and I think what we should do possibly in the future is let nonprofits that want money come to us with a plan. You give us a plan. You give us your plan. We shouldn't be deciding what we give you based on just, hey, we need this amount of money, here's our budget. Why don't nonprofits come to the city and give us a plan by, let's say, March, with the amount of money that they may want to get from us. And then as a board, as a council, because I believe in transparency. From what I've understood, our council, the budget hearings that we've had with the council seem to have flowed a little easier than in the past. I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard from a couple councilmen. I want to be transparent with my council members. I have to work with these members. We're all responsible. When we sign on this budget, that's what we sign on. So that being said, you come to us for the next budget year and you say, here's our plan, here's our mission statement, this is the money we're asking for, and these are the things we're going to do for the city. Because when it comes to legalities, we can't just give money to nonprofits. But for the things that you do, and other nonprofits do, where you provide a service specifically, well, Council on Aging provides our busing system. Options, which we pulled off the budget this year, cut our lift stations. But for this year, we've cut them back. So every year, you should come to us with your plan. And then along with these council members, we should sit down and decide, what truly should be given out.
And
So
I
I'm
think
not
we
saying
certainly-
that we give you zero. I'm saying that we
Right.
partner together, and I say that everyone has responsibility.
And I recognize that you're not giving us zero. Please understand that. I think part of the difficulty comes in that our fiscal years are not completely in sync. And so in our original budget, we had budgeted for a certain amount. And then halfway through, we're having to make significant cuts, and we have, as well as making increased efforts on the fundraising and the sponsorship side, as well as grants. There are a number of grants in the works. But and I understand that the city is helping us with those. And I think that we can definitely come with a plan, because there is considerable planning that's gone into the Discovery Center and all the programming. Our concern is that being in the middle of our fiscal year and then not having the funding that we had budgeted for will mean less programs in general.
I understood. You were comfortable for 9 months. So in 9 months, you don't believe you can raise $60,000 through your fundraiser that you hired to go out and knock on doors and knock on businesses and raise that type of money?
We are making concerted effort to do so.
Well, once again, I can't tell you how to run your business, because you know it better than I know it. I know that we're here to support you. We're looking for the future. We want to grow with you. And I've been a supporter like Mike has. So to say that we're not here for you, or this particular budget at 180 has to be with your budget, whereas I heard from one of the board members that it was originally 160. Numbers have changed, but the true facts are this. I need to run the city, and the council needs to. We're all responsible for our budget, and to give my employees or our employees a raise that's been duly needed for years is, to me, something that's more important at this time, just to be giving money out to nonprofits. You're still getting $125,000, which is more than any other nonprofit.
I realize that, but we do offer a broad range of services to a large area. I thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
Mr. President, just for the record as well, I'm in support of that as well. So we'll see what happens at that point.
All right. Anyone else from the member of the public that would like to speak on this item? All right. Moving into our regularly scheduled meeting. Roll call, please.
Jason Hood.
Here.
Johnny Blunt.
Here.
Lamar Marshall.
Here.
Janice Carter Beard.
Here.
Mike Williams.
Here. Is Mr. Ernest here? Can you do this in a prayer, please?
Let's pray. Dear God, our Father, we come now this evening to thank you for another day, to thank you for all this blessing. God, as we come this evening, we ask you to incline your ear to our prayers and lead and guide us, for we can't make the journey by ourselves, but we know that you know all things. So direct our steps, order our steps, and lead and guide us the way you would have us to go. Bless this council, bless the administrators of this city, that we can go forward and do what's best for the city of Hammond. We leave it in your hands. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
I want to invite all veterans and active military, please render the proper salute to the flag. Mr. Vick, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Assume the proper salute and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have any council reports?
I do have one, Mr. President. You know, I coach basketball, YBOA basketball, and this last week, I coached the Hammond Hurricanes. We have an organization, and we took 3 teams to Orlando and to play in the national tournament. And our 5th grade team came in 3rd place in the nation for the whole entire tournament. Our 6th grade team came in 5th place. And unfortunately, the 7th grade team that I coached, we didn't place in the top 8 teams, but we did have a good time. But we have another team, a females team, a girls team, Louisiana Nuggets. They are an 8th grade team, and they represent the entire parish. But 3 of their players attend Hammond Junior High, and they were down there, and they won the national title for YBOA 8th grade national title for 2015, and that's a remarkable effort coming from the city of Hammond. We had 3 teams that placed in the top 5 in the nation. So hats off to Monroe Jones and his staff at the Recreation Center that allows us to utilize the facility. We also, Councilman Hood, I know you know that we use Chapapula Park as well for practice. So those venues allows us, those guys, the guys that volunteer and coach, it allows us a place where we can train for basketball for kids who want to play the sport, and it shows in the end that we have great athletes here in Hammond and in Tangipahoa Parish, and we went down to Orlando and really had a good showing. So I just want you guys to know that.
So once again, the girls team won the national championship in Orlando. So I talked to their coach, congratulated them today, and they'll be here at the next meeting.
Good.
Because I wasn't sure how long this meeting would last, and we'll recognize them.
Right.
And also the other teams that they like to.
Sure, I'll bring the Hammond Hurricanes 5th grade and 6th grade team as well, because they came in 3rd in the nation and 5th in the nation.
Yeah, that's huge. So congratulations.
All right. Any other council reports?
Well, I would like to find out about the fact that when an election is going on, there's we having an issue over in my district with people who are running for office signs being placed on property and in people's yards without their permission. And I like whoever's in charge of seeing about that to take care of that. We would prefer that they don't come blanketly put signs in people's on people's property without their permission.
Okay, we'll get that with Bobby Mitchell and Robert Fields and have them check into it. But they can, if they don't want it in their yard, throw it away. All political signs do need to be out of the right-of-ways and in private yards or in private property. So that always is an issue. But most of us that have run more than once know that you're really supposed to be respectful of those who allow you to put the signs in their yards and not to have them in right-of-ways, or especially in yards.
Private property.
Or property that.
Well, we're waking up in the morning to find blanketed every yard on the street. We had a big bonfire with a bunch of them.
That's a lot of money.
So, yeah, that's a lot of money. So if you don't want to lose your money, knock on somebody's door and ask if you have permission to put it on, because you wouldn't want me to come put mine in your yard. I would respect the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mayor?
President Obama and Governor Jenner have declared that we fly our flags at half-staff until through July 25th to honor the victims of the tragedy in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I ask everyone in the city of Hammond to please join in honoring these victims by flying your flags at half-staff, if you would. Also, if you noticed, you may have been receiving on Facebook or social media people throughout the city of Hammond asking you to go to a website, Kaboom, because we're trying to win an award, which is an imaginary playground that we will put over by the Recreation Center, the Michael J. Kinney. So if you have received this to an email, please click on it. You can vote once a day. You can vote through Friday the 10th. We're right there to win this thing, but it's been going up and down. So if you would participate, we would really appreciate the help. That would be really good for the Kinney Center and our children. Also, the smoking ban did go in effect as of last night. We just got the packets in with the signs. We'll be delivering these to the businesses. So that is in effect as of today, last night at 12:01. Also, we will be coming, I'll go ahead and read this to you. Notice of a public hearing, City of Hammond. Notice is hereby given that all its meetings to be held on Tuesday, September 1st, 2015 at 5:30 at the City Council Chambers, 312 East Charles Street, Hammond, Louisiana. The City Council of the City of Hammond, State of Louisiana plans to consider adopting a resolution ordering and calling an election to be held in the City of Hammond to authorize the renewal of an ad valorem tax. This is not a new tax, this is a renewal. It's a 10-year, 2-mil property tax renewing for construction, improving, maintaining, and operating public works in the city, throughout the city for the City of Hammond. So this is a notice that we're giving out, and this will be coming up on the ballot. Please consider it. We need these funds to help maintain and operate the City of Hammond. That's my report, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Are there any new businesses in the audience that would like to be recognized? All right. Approval of minutes. If everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes of July 7th, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Resolutions, old business. Number one, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Spiller Consulting LLC to audit the city's utilities and communication expenses to find additional savings at no cost to the city. Lacey Landry.
We tabled this last meeting just to get some clarification on the contract. Andre Kudrain reviewed it for us and made some good revisions to it, and Spiller Consulting has agreed to that. What we would be hiring this company to do is to review all of our utilities and communications expenses. They audit utilities and telecommunication invoices to make sure that all the charges are correct and cost effective. For most of their clients, they say that they identify savings, errors, or overcharges in over 80% of the audits that they conduct. They look at confusing fees, surcharges, tariffs, all those kinds of things that appear that you're like, why are we paying this fee? There's no fee for the service. We don't pay them anything at all. If they find a savings, then they share that savings by 50% with us. So we would get 50% of the savings, they would get 50%. That's how they earn their dollars.
Any questions from the council?
Do you know what the potential savings would be, Lacey, any chance?
I don't offhand, but I know just in looking, for example, at our charter communications bills, we have charter communication services in several of our fire department buildings, out at 190 and some of our other facilities. And even those bills across the city do not match in terms of the amounts that we pay for a receiver or the amount that we pay for different fees and services like that. So you would think it's the same service, it would be the same, especially for the same client, but that is not the case. So just in that small, and I actually did this right before this guy ended up coming in our city hall. I know the mayor talked to the sheriff, and I think the sheriff's office has used the same company and found significant savings and recommended them to us too. So
I think they were just under $100,000. He also helped the city of Tickfall. So, and their fee comes out on the first year, right?
And it comes out only if they find savings. We do not pay anything to them in terms
That's just
of
in the first year.
in terms of a fee.
Any public comments or questions? All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Thank you.
New business, item number 1, a resolution authorizing engagement of Timothy Richardson to represent the city of Hammond and city defendants in the matter of Talis White versus Officer X et al. Docket 71059, 18th Judicial District Court. Andre Kuzmin.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the council, this is a case filed a few years back arising out of a claim for a wrongful arrest and injury during arrest that involved Hammond police officers and Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's deputies. There was a joint defense agreement to represent both in hopes the case could be dismissed prior to trial. That was not successful, so the matter is going to trial. So it's necessary for the city to hire a separate counsel to represent it. We've given lots of consideration to this. I consulted with the city's insurance adjusters, and we have recommended that Tim Richardson be hired to represent the city. The police defense law has become something of a specialty. There are special laws, there are special liability issues, special immunity privileges available in defense. And so we've recommended that Tim be hired to represent the city. He's practiced law for over 12 years. He clerked for the Louisiana State Supreme Court. His law firm represents 17 sheriff's offices throughout the state, and they've got substantial experience in this area of law. They'd be paid at the customary attorney general's rate. And I would recommend the city hire Mr. Richardson to represent the city in this case. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to go over that with you.
Any any public questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Number 2, a resolution authorizing mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Tangipahoa Voluntary Council on Aging from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2015.
As promised, we have several of these, one right after the other. This contract is linked there. The Council on Aging, through the Tangipahoa Parish Transportation System, agrees to operate the Hammond City bus system, and they also provide local resources that maintain the nutritional, physical, and emotional well-being of the residents of the city who are age 60 and older. In the original budget, we allocated $45,000, and so this cooperative endeavor agreement would allow them to begin drawing down those funds. We do ask for invoices and other documentation, and in all of our standard contracts, we're requesting semi-annual updates of the program goals, services, outreach and marketing efforts, fundraising efforts, and their overall budget.
Any questions from the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Jason Hood.
Aye.
Johnny Blunt. Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Number 3, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Crime Stoppers of Tangipahoa from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2016.
And I will just say that Debbie Fleming is here from the Council on Aging, and she does an amazing job, so
Thank you,
kudos
Debbie.
to Debbie. Jody could not be here from Crime Stoppers tonight. She is recovering from back surgery. So Crime Stoppers is going to use their funds mainly to operate the hotline that is used to receive information related to criminal activity, to provide various crime prevention activity programs and services to the community, and to administer and operate Crime Stoppers and its programs, including a youth advisory board that does a lot of efforts against underage drinking, substance abuse, and supports crime prevention. The city has budgeted $9,383 in the fiscal year of 2016. And again, same standard contract that we signed with them last year with the notice of semi-annual updates regarding their services.
Any council questions? Public questions or comments?
Will you say this is just for the hotline?
It's for the hotline, and it also goes to their other crime prevention activities that they do throughout the year. They do Night Out Against Crime. They have a spring activity, I can't recall the name of it, but that's their other activities that they participate. Yeah, Night Out Against Crime is in the fall.
It's in the fall.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and they also help with a lot of the neighborhood watch associations and whatnot.
Yeah. Good job.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Number 4, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with CASA from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2016.
CASA, we have allocated or budgeted already $10,000 for this fiscal year. With those funds, they are going to be providing ongoing advocacy and resources to each child and family referred to its program. They provide individual, family, and group counseling services free of charge, and they accept community-based counseling referrals and offer those services on a sliding fee scale. They also offer educational and prevention services, especially along the lines of child abuse prevention, safety and protection, dating violence, and childhood development.
Make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Dennis Carter Beard.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Number 5, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Louisiana Children's Discovery Center from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2016.
As discussed in the budget presentation, the budget amendment presentation, the administration is recommending $125,000 to be allocated. That is yet to be determined in the final budget vote. But this cooperative endeavor agreement would work, and the Children's Discovery Center would accept the funds to provide a children's museum within the city limits that has interactive, family-oriented exhibits designed to enhance children's intellectual, artistic, and cultural development and to inspire lifelong learning. They do attract a diverse patronage and user clientele that includes residents of the city, visitors, and tourists from a broad geographic region. I know we've heard lots about the number of visitors that they have and the economic impact that they have on the community. The other thing that is listed in this is that the city is agreeing to provide grant writing and other technical assistance to help the Discovery Center become self-sufficient. The grants department is actually writing a grant right now for the Discovery Center. So,
Any council questions or comments? Public comments? Come on up, Ms. Louise.
My name is Dr. Louise Bostick, 112 Elm Drive in Hammond. Much has been said about forcing the educators and creativity specialists to turn their focus toward raising funds in lieu of their focus on children and service to children, such as autistic children and others. It's been my experience in 47 years and more of working to enhance the learning and skills of young people at the universities that more and more we were asked to focus on funding, on finding our own funding. Often, when successful, those same funds were diverted and used by our current governor and his supporting team for other universities even. I'm talking tuition raises and other things that we desperately found to find these funds. My question is, what is the assurance that this administration will not take the same approach if these organizations, not just the Children's Discovery Center, but any of them, if they're successful in raising, are you going to say, whoa, you got too much money, so we're going to take this amount out and put it over there so that you're back to where you were? I'm very, very nervous in the approach that this administration is taking toward these fundraisers.
Let me correct you before you walk away. First of all, the educators that are there, we're talking about board members to raise money. They hired a fundraiser, specifically to be a fundraiser. So the educators that are dealing with the students don't have to go out and raise the money. The board of directors.
Who's going to go to the bingo parlor?
You hire someone to do that because you're making $30,000 to $40,000 a year through the bingo game. $30,000 to $40,000 a year. Now
this is coming out of your budget.
The individual that runs the game. So seems to me, that's a pretty simple business to go and have someone run a game for you, pay them their due, whether it's, I don't know what they pay them an hour, maybe $10, $15 an hour, but they run the game for you. You, in the end, collect $30,000 to $40,000 a year. What does that have to do with the people that are there? You're making money through the game, okay? And as far as reallocating money, the goal for the city is not to totally fund nonprofits. It's not what we're here for. We're here to aid and assist. So if you're going to relate us to the state, then let's be realistic about it, because the state has earmarks, and they came to higher education because of all the other earmarks they had tagged to money.
That I was not the one who first compared the situation to the state. Dr. Landrum was the one who pointed out.
Right. Well, the state is exactly like she said and I said. Earmarks are there. There are no need for earmarks because it allocates money. Why do we take money from education? You're an educator. Why? Because money's been earmarked to other programs and you can't touch it. So we have a legislator right there who's fighting the budget as we speak and can't touch funds because they're allocated through earmarks. He still needs to pay the bills for the government.
I'm not addressing that issue. The problem that I'm having with all of this is it sounds so very much like Mr. Gendel's approach of looking at this little pocket over here and taking it in because he wants to use it for the good of all rather than that specific retirement fund. He wants to use it for the good of all rather than that hospital fund. He wants to use it for the good of all rather than...
I can tell you that the calls that I get in my office about nonprofits versus most of the things that our citizens are talking about, roads, highways, drainage, why is a sewer and Woodbridge coming up through my house when it rains heavily? They want complete systems fixed, and they should get that. Dam is falling down in your district, and we need to fix that.
My son's yard has been flooded for 10 years. I understand that.
Well, that's what we do as a city. We provide the services to cut grass, to fix drainage, sewer,
I know that.
and water. Well, that's expensive.
Well, of course it is.
And so is paying our employees who haven't had a raise in a while, and they actually run the city. So all those things being said, if we have access, Ms. Louise, glad to give it to you.
It's very pointless, I can see, to try to discuss this when you don't really understand what's going on. I don't have any children there. I don't have a dog in this fight. But I do see the value to the children of the area, and I just heard from an engineer today that is from Metairie, who said, well, you know, I took my children to the New Orleans Discovery Center. I'm not doing that again. I said, we're coming back to Hammond. He said, but you know, we've been coming here for a while now, and there are a lot of children there. There are things that need to be a little repaired. There's painting that needs to be done. There's upkeep. And we're cutting the budget instead of...
That should have been done as you go along, Ms. Louise.
Thank you very
We
much.
don't push that to the side, and then all of a sudden, with any business that ends up needing money, and they've been failing, if that's not necessarily the case with the Children's Museum, and then all of a sudden you need to put money in your business, but you don't have it, you need to do these things as you go along. It's called maintenance, maintaining your budget.
All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard. Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye. Number 6, a resolution to renew the appointment of Joe Mayer to the Hammond Area Economic and Industrial Development District Board for a 3-year term from August 1st, 2015 to July 30th, 2018. Mayor.
Joe's been instrumental on the board. He's brought in a company here of late that's going to be vital to our community, I believe, and I recommend that he
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard. Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
A resolution, number 7, resolution to renew the appointment of Robbie Miller to the Hammond Area Economic and Industrial Development District Board for a 3-year term from August 1st, 2015 to July 3rd, 2018.
Robbie's also been instrumental on the board and has done a good job. Recommend his reappointment.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard. Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye. Number 8, a resolution to renew the appointment of Hart Bordelon to the Hammond Area Economic and Industrial Development District Board for a 3-year term from August 1st, 2015 to July 30th, 2018.
Hart has actually just come on the board, but I think he's going to be an asset to us, and I request his reappointment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard. Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Number 9, a resolution to adopt the Tangipahoa Parish Hazard Mitigation Plan 2015 that identifies mitigation goals and actions to reduce or eliminate long-term risks to people and property. Lacey Landrum.
This is a hazard mitigation plan that we update every 5 years. Our updates this year just included some of the new buildings that have been acquired by the city, such as the Hammond Police Department and some of the other changes like that. The plan itself identifies goals and actions that we will take to harden buildings, strengthen windows, strengthen roll-up doors. And this makes us, by adopting this plan, makes us eligible for hazard mitigation grant funds, of which we have 3 ongoing projects right now.
Any questions or comments from the council? From the public? I'll entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Janice Carter Beard. Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Final adoption.
Mr. President, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Councilman Blunt has, no, you didn't skip. My agenda has only 9 items. And I think you all, but Councilman Blunt's has 10, where number, let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to find it real quick. Is number 5 on his is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter in a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Hammond Youth Education Alliance.
He has the prior one. That's what I had on.
That's the one you said.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I
That-
want to make sure we didn't skip over them.
That contract, we actually moved to the August 4th meeting just so that we didn't have
That's the one
500
you-
of these.
Mayor, when you said I skipped.
Okay.
Okay, man. All right, final adoption of the ordinance. Number 1, final adoption of the ordinance relative to alcohol beverages and Sunday alcohol sales.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt.
No.
Jason Hood.
No.
Janice Carter Beard.
No.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Yes.
Fails.
Motion fails.
Fails. Number 2, final adoption of an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2000-2692 CS regarding the City of Hammond's compensation system of the classification and pay plan.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard. Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Number 3, final adoption of an ordinance to declare as surplus and authorize the sale of the items listed below to sell on govdeals.com.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Janice Carter Beard. Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye. Number 4, final adoption of orders to amend the City of Hammond budget for fiscal year 2015-2016 to transfer $181,000 from the Children's Museum Fund 217 to General Capital Expenditures Fund 100 and to transfer $181,000 from Sales Tax Capital Expenditures Fund 203 to General Fund 100 to allocate $125,000 for Children's Museum Fund, $35,320 for City of Hammond employee salaries, $15,500 for Highway 51 feasibility study, and $5,180 to fund the fund balance.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Jason Hood.
Aye.
Johnny Blunt. Janice Carter Beard.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye. Introduction of ordinance to set public hearing. Introduction of an ordinance to approve rezoning request by First Guaranty Bank to rezone 404, 406, 412 East Morris Avenue and 206 South Orange Street on Lot A1, Square 2, Iowa Edition from RM2 and MXN to MXC in accordance with survey by Andrew N. Fowler dated 4/24/15, Iowa Edition overlay, DDD Thomas Morris overlay. Recommended approval by Zoning Commission. Josh Taylor.
Just an introduction, but real quick, they purchased 3 lots adjacent to the parking lot across the street from First Guaranty. They want to combine it all into one lot and make it all one uniform zoning. They want to expand the parking lot, so that's it.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Public hearing is set for August 4th, 2015.
Number 2, introduction of ordinance to amend the Unified Development Code Ordinance 14-5364, Article 8 Overlay Districts and Appendix E, Hammond Historic District Commission Design Guidelines and Rules of Operation. Recommended approval by Historic Commission and Zoning Commission.
This came through the Planning Commission because it is a text amendment to the UDC, and so I'm here presenting it. Melanie will be here for the public hearing to address any questions. They spent a lot of time rewriting this thing, so it was recommended to approve.
Motion to introduce.
Roll call, please.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Janice Carter Beard.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Public hearing set for August 4th, 2015.
Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.